Hey guys, MCU Collector here with the next video, rolling right along. We have here the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Fantastic Four Wave 1 Super Skrull Build-A-Figure. This is now the 5th figure in the wave, and we have the Thing. So Ben Grimm himself, and he comes with two heads for the Super Skrull Build-A-Figure. There are no additional accessories for this guy, unfortunately, but it's still a cool looking figure. Not great, because when you look at it and you're gonna see, you know, the wash that they have over there, the bright orange, is just something about it. it's like pretty good, but it still, in my opinion, is not as good as the Walgreens exclusive here. But we'll do some better side-by-side comparisons a little bit later on in the video. Let's check it out. Fantastic Four logo there, artwork of Ben Grimm looking pretty good here on the side of the package, and that head sculpt actually reminds me more of this head sculpt versus the one that's actually on the figure. But anyway, look at the back of the package. We have all the figures in the wave to build the Thing, Super Skrull here. After this video, the next one will be Hulk or She-Hulk. Let's check out Thing's bio. Marvel's Thing. Bombarded by cosmic rays, Ben Grimm develops thick orange skin and superhuman strength. So that's a kind of an interesting, pretty vague little bio there. But there's a close-up look at it. Let's get this beast of a figure out of the package. Okay, and here's the Thing figure out of the package, and it's a good figure. It's definitely a solid figure. The mold is great. For me, the problem with this figure is the shading that they do on it. It just, like right now, it doesn't look so bad looking at the viewfinder. In person, it's really noticeable, and kind of where it's done. It's just done right here on his chest, none on his torso, none on the shoulders. None on the legs, but it has it on his feet. So it's just kind of funky actually in hand. But again, it's not a terrible figure, and it's going to go great because this one matches the outfits of the new Fantastic Four. So that's kind of the added benefit there. No accessories with this guy, at least with the Walgreens exclusive one. We had interchangeable hands, but we get two heads for the Super Skrull, which is pretty cool. So we have one that's labeled A. There's actually an A that's carved into it on the inside, and that's just kind of the mean face. And then here, the smiling one, which I just dropped and rolled around, is actually the B head, because there's a B actually engraved inside there. So we'll put all the Build-A-Figure pieces there, and we'll take a look at the Super Skrull after Hulk. So let's get in for a closer look so you can see what I'm talking about on that shading, and then see the new head sculpt. Okay, so here's an up-close look at the Thing, this new head sculpt. Now, I, for one, am not the biggest fan of it, and I know it's based on the most current run in the comics of how he looked, but the even bigger, like, eyebrows, and then the huge lower jaw just doesn't do it for me. And I mean, you know, the Walgreens exclusive one, he had the big eyebrow thing, unibrow. He had the big lower jaw, but this one, it's just wider, and I'm not as much of a fan, in my opinion. So again, I do like the Walgreens exclusive one quite a bit more. Now this one isn't terrible again, but just definitely isn't as good. Here you can see the shading. So we get the shading in his face as well. So kind of on his upper lip, lower lip, nose, and then the top of the head and stuff like that. Here on the chest, we just get it kind of across there, right here at the shoulder, but like the top of the shoulder, there's none there. The forearm, the hand doesn't get any. We actually do get some on the back of the figure. The legs doesn't have it at all, and then on the feet, it's there. In person, it just doesn't look the greatest to me. A nice wash would have, I think, have gone a long way, as opposed to just the shading. Now, the other new thing to this figure is this belt piece. So again, everything is the same old new head, and then a new belt piece. That belt piece is just on there. You're not going to be able to remove it unless you were to, like, somehow, warm this up. Maybe it'll stretch or take the figure apart and do that. And I think it looks really cool, though. We get that Fantastic Four logo there. Paint apps, not so bad. It's, there's not a whole lot to it. A little bit of fuzziness where that black meets the blue there, but other than that, it's not too bad. But yeah, there he is. Now let's take a look at his articulation. Okay, so the articulation for the thing is actually pretty good for the size of figure that he is. So he can look down somewhat, he can look up somewhat, so that is pretty good. Of course, full rotation in that neck, and then you actually do get some good pivot going on in there. Shoulder can go up that high, so it's kind of straight out. Can't expect a whole lot more. You get a full rotation, of course. There's a single jointed elbow, and it has the swivel at the elbow. So on the bend, however, that's where it's going to be lacking. You don't even get 90 degrees in that elbow, unfortunately. And it's going to be the same on the other side. The wrists swivel, and there is a hinge. It doesn't work out the greatest, but you can get that hinge going in the hand. But again, not a whole lot. There is a diaphragm joint. It is not an ab crunch, so you can get him to tilt to the side a tiny bit. Get him to tilt to the other side tiny bit as well. You can get him forward a little bit. You can get him going back a little bit more. But you do get a nice twist and pivot in there, which is what the most important feature is on that, in my opinion. There is a waist swivel as well, but that belt really does get in the way of it. You would just kind of have to move that belt around as needed to get his the waist where the position that you want it. His legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that much, so pretty good. Leg doesn't really go back. There is the upper thigh cut there, and you get a double jointed knee, which works pretty well. And then foot hinges down a little bit, up a little bit, but you do have a great ankle pivot on this guy. So there is his articulation, and not terrible, but not the greatest either, but I think it fits for the figure. Okay, so here are the two thing figures side by side. You can see there is a huge difference between the two. Now, people have asked, oh, can you swap the parts and do these things, swap the heads and do the hands? I'm going to show that to you guys, but it's not going to look good because of how the paint was applied in these two figures. You know, we get the dark wash throughout the entirety of the figure, whereas this one we don't get a wash at all. So it's going to look funky, but again, same mold, so of course the parts are going to be interchangeable with ease. So you can pop the head on, and it fits. The color is just way off and just doesn't look right. The same is going to go for the hands. You know, this Walgreens exclusive one came with interchangeable hands, so it'd be nice if you could, you know, take advantage of that. But in this particular case, it's just color-wise, it's not going to work out. Now, if you wanted to paint them yourself and do something like that, you know, you absolutely could, but it's not going to work. It just looks funny. You know, with, you know, going from the wash in between, you know, the cracks of the rock to his hand where it's just a solid orange color, or here with the orange and that light orange there into the dark hand color. It doesn't work, but you could do it, sure. Okay, kind of looking up close again, it just doesn't really look right in my opinion. And then looking at the head sculpt, it just doesn't work. The dark wash just makes it look darker versus the brighter orange. I just don't like the way that looks. Or here, the really light orange over the dark orange. Again, just doesn't really look right. Let's see the thing with his teammates. Okay, so here is the Fantastic Four together. You can see that the thing is much larger than the other figures, and I think they look really good together. I really like the uniform look, especially with Human Torch, you know, not being in Flame On mode, you know, being depowered. It really just helps bring the team together. As I kind of separate the Thing and Mr. Fantastic Invisible Woman, you know, because you could see the Thing's matching uniform as well. And I'm very happy with this set. Now let's see how he compares to the new Doctor Doom. Okay, and here is Doctor Doom and the Thing next to each other, and you can see the Thing is much larger, as he should be, and they look very well side by side.